So you want a GPS golf watch, but you don't want to spend a small fortune on one. Let me tell you about one right here. This is the Garmin Approach S12 GPS watch. I have used this watch for the last 3 years, and I am blown away with what it can do. It's just simple, it's easy, anybody can use it, and it's not going to cost you a small mortgage payment to own one. The only thing, the downside to this one was that there was no touchscreen. But honestly, I'm not going to lie, I kind of preferred it that way because I've had touchscreen watches in the past, and the only problem I've had with them was that I wear my watches obviously on my left arm, but because I'm right-handed in my golfing, I always found that the glove kind of bound up on my watches, and I hated it, so I always wore it on my opposite hand. Well, the problem with the glove hand is sometimes the touchscreen always doesn't work, and if you were sitting there and it was kind of rainy and stuff, and you always take the your glove off or whatever, and you had to touch it, put your glove back on. It was terrible. I hated it. So I got the S12 because all I really needed to do was know the yardage from the front green, the middle of the green, and the back of the green. To me, those were really only the yardages I was concerned about at the time. So I just thought that, hey, maybe simple's better, and I didn't need all the bells and whistles. So looking at this watch, it's a very lightweight, durable. I mean, I've thrown this thing around. It's been knocked around in the golf bag. There's not a scratch on this thing. It works in the rain. It works in the heat. The battery life is fantastic. Because there's no fancy light-up screens or touch screens or color or anything like that, this watch lasts me, I'd say maybe every 4 rounds I would have to charge it. And I mean, I leave this thing on my counter in between rounds. I'll be like, oh, I left it, went out on a Sunday, played. I'm like, oh, I left my watch on for the whole week. Oh, I need it. Oh, it's still at half battery. It still get me through the round if I forgot to charge it. It's great. It's perfect. This watch is so simple. So here you have your clock face, your generic time, everything like that. It's got a 4-button design. So you would have your top button up here would be your select button. This would be your back button, and then you have a up-down scroll on the side here. So, and if you hold the up button here, it's your on and off switch. So this is just your main watch screen. If we hit the top button, it'll bring you into your play golf mode. You've got your settings button as well. If you hit down, you can change your golf settings, your phone settings, system settings, all that stuff there about the watch. So you just hit the back button there. So here we are in your play golf screen. You would just go ahead and hit the top button. GPS searches for your golf courses. The only downside is sometimes if you are playing golf courses in an area that are more rural, sometimes you get the message here. It'll be like satellite taking a little while. Sometimes it does take some time. And then there you go. It'll load up your courses. Usually you'd have to be near a course to find it. For whatever reason, this course here seems to pick up all the time from my house, and I'm nowhere near it. But nonetheless, hit select. Would you like to keep your score? Built-in scorecard on this. Perfect. That way you don't have to, worry about a wet, rainy scorecard on a windy, rainy day blowing away. You've always got your score on your wrist. You do have the ability with this watch to input big numbers. Now, if you connect this, which you should, to your smartphone with the Garmin app, it'll take all the info from this watch and it'll put it into the Garmin app when you sync it together, which is great. You can put your putt numbers if you miss the fairway left or right, or if you hit the center. If you took any penalties, how many putts did you take? If you want to track all that stats, you have the ability to turn it on in the watch, and then it's there, goes into the Garmin app, and you can review over the season where you think your game needs to improve. I thought that was a very cool feature with this watch. So if you want to use that app, feel free to turn that on. So we can keep the score if we'd like. Brings you to your tee markers. You can scroll up and down. You can choose what tees you're going to play from. Go ahead and select your tees. And there is your yardage to the green. It doesn't give you a whole layout. However, if you do hit the scroll button, it will give you your basic layouts. So on the side here, it'll show you little dots and lines and stuff. Those are bunkers or water hazards that you could potentially want to avoid. It will give you your layup numbers. So 127 will give you the 200 layup. And as you use your scroll button, you can see where you want to go. So it says that this bunker here is, 207 to the front, and it is 224 to the back on the right side of the fairway. So things like that. Now, if you get up to the green and you notice that the flag really quite isn't in the spot that you think it's in, you can change that. However, because of the simplicity of this watch, I don't think it's, I've never really used it, but I don't think it's going to matter too much because, so we go down to the settings, it'll say move flag. You were able to pin it around, and it will change your yardage depending on where it is. So we'll just say it's at 335, and we go ahead and hit select. It'll put the flag at 335. So again, cool little function. You do have the ability to change the back color. So you see all the font is black and the background is white. You can change it so that the background would be black and the font would be white if that is something that you would like to do. So after the hole, it will prompt you to input your score. So it will bring you to the scorecard, where then you can input your strokes. Now, after you're done putting and you're going to the next hole, this screen will automatically pop up for you, and then you can go in. But sometimes if you miss the hole, you can go back into that scorecard section and just adjust it manually. So say we got a birdie. It'll ask you for how many putts you got, so we'll go with my my average there of, we can say 3 putt. Well, usually it says 3 putt. We'll just go with 2 putt. Make myself feel good about myself. And then there you go. It'll say tee shot in the fairway. You can say it went to the left or the right. So there we go. 3, 2 putts. Miss left and right. Boom. And then you could cancel out of this. It's only going to do that in that menu just because I went into the scorecard and did that. And then it would move you on to the next hole. This watch is a perfect budget-friendly device that is just simple to use. If you play with a lot of older guys that aren't very, a lot of people don't really understand that there's so much tech. And they just want simple. This is it. How far is the hole? That's what I need to know. Okay, I can see the tee markers out there. It's perfect. If I wanted to go out and just spend a couple bucks, I think this one cost me around $250. You get them on sale for $150, $200. It's a very budget-friendly tool for something that will last a long time. The only downside to things like this is nowadays we really have 2 types of chargers. We have a USB-C and an Apple charger, and mostly everything takes a USB-C except for Garmin, who have their own plug. So If you lose the charger plug for this, you're going to have to go to Garmin and buy their specific plug. That's the only downside to this watch. After the... Well, I guess I should. You can also go into the menu. You can change your settings if you do prefer. But you can also measure your shot. So off the tee, you want to tell your buddies that you can drive the ball 350 yards and they don't believe you. You can smack that ball and, you know, start your count. So when you hit the ball, go into, you know, shot measure. And from where you're standing, drive out to your ball. It'll tell you just how far you hit that ball. It works pretty good. We measure these amongst the guys I play with. We just kind of compare it all and see whose watches. I got friends that use Bushnell. I use Garmin. Some people use their Apple app. And they're all fairly close, within 5 yards of each other. So it's a very accurate device. But there it is again. Garmin S12 Approach. Very budget friendly. If you're looking at or into the market for a new GPS device and you're like me, I'm not very still with a rangefinder, I'm too shaky, and you want just a simple, inexpensive product that's going to last you for years, Garmin S12 Approach. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. Hope you like it. Hope you like this video. Stay tuned. I'm going to do a couple more tech reviews.